Master, you okay?
No. Dracula's been horribly disfigured through the power of drinking blood, pure blood, hopefully. He's being rejuvenated and coming back to his complete supernatural self.
Master!
Oh, Jesus. It's great to see over the course of the movie him go from this barbecued state up to his full Dracula glory.
But it's a long and arduous and hideous process, starting with the most grotesque and then slowly grooving back into when we see the character at the end.
There was a lot of discussion that went into how fucked up Dracula's face should be, how much bone, how much flesh, how much blood.
Dracula goes through 4 different sort of evolutionary stages. His Picasso look is this human being that's growing back together and trying to reconstruct the body. We break a lot of the rules of the human anatomy. His jawbone is moved over and slightly dislocated. His ears are off center by about 2 inches on either side of the head. We're seeing layers of skin, veins, fatty tissue, muscle tissue, skulls and bones. We're doing this makeup on Nicolas Cage. He's 100% covered. You would normally find a suit performer to do this type of performance, and then as you start to expose a little bit more of the humanity, you start getting into your actor. But Nick Cage was such a fan of becoming Dracula that he really wanted to be a part of every process.
My face is completely covered, but it's helping a lot in terms of working from the outside in terms of performance.
He goes through about a 4-hour makeup to become Picasso, and then has to, of course, do his day, and then there's the removal time. So he's really in this makeup for 14, 15 hours easily.
Nick Cage, with half his face coming off and still delivering a scene in all earnestness and seriousness, is kind of magic.
It's a purity. It alone will bring me back to full power.
They just started building out on, what would it look like to go from Picasso to then the next stage where he's continuing to heal. And there's just such a level to detail, just like the wetness to his skin. There's these cool little pockets of deformities.
Why am I not embracing what I truly am?
Which is?
A god, Renfield.
When we see Dracula at the Coda meeting and we see Dracula in Renfield's apartment, that is probably one of my favorite looks for him, because it bridges the gap between where he's come from, where he's going, and we had some wonderful Nicolas Cage moments.
Everyone you care about will suffer because of you. Because you betrayed me.
And then we are allowed to sort of rediscover his growth back into becoming the sort of handsome Dracula. And we stuck with the widow's peak, the warmer lip tones, the darker eye sockets. Nick Cage has this wonderful ability to raise his brows, so we benefited from being able to enhance his brow features.
For half a millennium, I've seen only weakness in the hearts of men. And then I looked into yours.
One of the things that I discussed early on was, of course, the vampire teeth. We were able to play with both his smile and then embody sort of classic vampirism Dracula feels with the longer fangs.
Maybe I should put the teeth in. I have it.
Do you?
Yeah.
This was the first project that I've ever had a 3D printer in the makeup trailer creating product as we were working through production. What we did was create all of Dracula's dentures as well as his nails. So it started by taking scans of Nicholas's face and his hands and his teeth and designing all of his teeth and his nails through a digital program. There's always a certain speech impairment that happens when you're wearing dentures, and we were able to make adjustments very quickly to alter the designs.
And we would literally see them and be like, okay, like, you know what, those are too wide, or these are too close together, or this is too long. Sometimes you wouldn't be able to tell until it was actually in Nick Cage's mouth. You'd be able to see like, oh, okay, you know what, with the shape of his face, case it doesn't actually work. And Christian Tinsley was always 2 to 3 steps ahead, where we'd be like, oh, he's like, yep, I knew that, how about this? And we're like, oh, that's perfect.
It allowed us a lot of freedoms to explore concept, build prototypes, and then get to finished product much faster.
You can't take my teeth.
Christian has brought something that is compelling and oddly real and magical at the same time. Hopefully these two elements, the external and the internal, will collide in such a way that this one will be one of the memorable Draculas.
It's been drawings, it's been paintings, it's been sculpture and clay, it's been these inanimate pieces of rubber that really mean nothing until you start to piece it all together. And then once you get somebody like Nicolas Cage, who does what he does, which is so fantastic. Hail Satan! It's really that wonderful moment of not only it worked, it's a little bit of a brow sweep like we did it. It's also that very gratifying moment that it's alive.